Hello and welcome back to Pitch Perfect, Haters TV's women's football show. I'm Ayisha Gulati and I'm joined in the studio today by the wonderful Lucy Casey. Thanks for joining me, Lucy.
Thanks for having me back.
Lovely to have you in the studio. Well, we're 2 weeks in, 4 teams are spotless and 3 teams yet to get a point. We're going to dive into all of that. But before we do, we have a poll going as always. It's a big one today. Who is going to win the WSL? And we've gone for Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, or Man City. Sorry, Spurs. It's a good start, but let's see. If you think it's going to be Spurs or any other team, please do get your comments in. But yeah, get voting. We'll keep you updated on the poll as we go throughout the show. We also have the new feature for this season, which is our quiz, our wonderful quiz. If you're watching, you can see the QR code that you can scan and take part. That will test your knowledge of all things that happen in game week 2 this weekend. And a lot happened. So see if you can remember from Friday night to yesterday. You can also click on the link in the description to do that quiz. But yeah, highly recommend. It's a good one. Get involved and get competitive. That's what we want to see. But we're going to jump into the weekend's action. And it feels like we should start with champions Chelsea because...
Probably best.
Yeah, I mean, 2 words, Sam Kerr. Sam Kerr. Mm-hmm. Chelsea won 3-1 against Aston Villa. For those of you who didn't see, where were you if you didn't see that? But the talking point has to be Sam Kerr out with her ACL injury, missed the whole of last season. And she comes back, only plays a few minutes and gets a goal. Not just any goal, her 100th goal. Wow. Lucy, a word on Sam Kerr.
I mean, she literally has taken all the headlines, like you said. I think just for her, just to come back with an ACL injury, come back and just play like she played last week, that's something you don't really see. I think we've seen recently with, even just looking at Arsenal squad, you've had Beth Mead come back, Leah Williamson, and neither of them have been where they were quality-wise, understandably, because obviously you have maybe the fear of that injury, you don't want to do it again, and just you've been out of the game for a while. Same with Miedemar at City, we saw that with her, she came back and she wasn't quite there yet, and they've sort of like warmed themselves back into the game, whereas Sam Kerr coming back, scoring within 10 minutes, it was literally written. It was written that it was going to happen. All the content that came out after, it was crazy. I feel like she literally was on my whole feed on social media.
Yeah.
Like, took up everything.
And deservedly so. I feel like people have been waiting for her comeback for so long. People thought we might see it at the end of last season. Of course, we didn't. It almost feels like, you mentioned it there, but the ACL recovery coming back after that is so difficult. It's such a difficult thing to do. And it feels like this wasn't rushed for her.
Yeah.
Sonia Bompastor and her clearly worked together to figure out when that right time would be. Maybe they could have pushed it out a stretch at the end of last season, but they were like, no, let's hold. And to see her come back with a bang, wow. But this already incredible Chelsea side, what can Sam Kerr bring now? It feels like, last season they were so dominant domestically. It's got to be that Champions League thereafter now with Sam Kerr, right?
That is literally all that after. They literally hired Sonia to get that because obviously she's done it as both a player and a manager. So for her not to do it last season, for Arsenal to just take it at the last moment when no one saw that coming, being the underdogs against Barcelona. But when they did that, I think it just put, okay, they're very competitive, these 2 clubs. I think obviously going back to what you said before, that Sam Kerr, they didn't have to rush it, her coming back. And that I think is because of the luxury of the squad depth they've got. They've got Aggie Beever-Jones. We were talking before this, and she's so crucial up top, but she's so young. And I think that's what people maybe overlook, that she's been with Chelsea for so many years, been in the academy, been in the first team setup for a few seasons now. But I think with Sam Kerr out, with Myra Ramirez out, she's really being given that chance. And I think, I don't know, if I was Sonia, you've got a good headache, but you've got a headache of trying to figure out what players you actually play. Because like you said, what can Sam Kerr offer that Aggie hasn't offered yet? Because Aggie's been playing top quality. So it's interesting how they'll see.
It's going to be really interesting to see how Sonia manages that, for sure. Well, we were lucky enough to get some post-match reaction from Sam Kerr at the end of the match. This is taken from Chelsea's ex-social media channels. So shout out to Chelsea for this clip.
Sam, finally, welcome back. How does it feel to be back on the pitch?
Yeah, it feels good. Obviously really happy, but just a lot of relief. It's been a bit of a long journey, so I'm glad it's just over.
You said in your contract extension, did you really think I was going to end on 99 goals? Today you have reached 100 goals for the club. What does that achievement mean personally?
Oh my God, it's massive. When I signed for Chelsea, I never ever thought I would score 100 goals, and to do it for such a massive club like Chelsea and a club that I love so dearly, it's an amazing achievement and something I'm really proud of. I mean, I don't really reflect too much on my goals, but to score 100 for Chelsea is something that I'll keep with me forever.
And that goal secured the 3 points today, so how important was that?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing today is the 3 points. Keep the pressure up the top. Can't afford to drop points in this league. It's so tough. So most important thing is the win.
A lovely familiar voice on the interview there as well. Shout out to Rio at Chelsea, who is doing amazing things on all their social media channels. But yeah, Sam Kerr, wow, what a talent. So great to see her back in the WSL. So excited for her to be playing again this season. And you mentioned Aggie Beever-Jones there. I just want to touch on her because she scored again now, second game. Last week, I was speaking to all the Chelsea fans. I said, who's going to win the Golden Boot? And they said Aggie Beever-Jones. Actually, a few of them said Sam Kerr as well. But what do you reckon? Aggie Beever-Jones on the Golden Boot?
She's got a really good chance. Like you said, I mean, she scored already in 2 games and they weren't the easiest games. I mean, I was at Stamford Bridge for the first game against City and it wasn't an easy, Chelsea would definitely get some goals. So the fact that Aggie managed to find the net, I think she definitely is one of the contenders. I think obviously you've got to look at City. They've got Bunny Shaw, who usually she will get up there as well. Even Miedemar, the way that both of them are playing on the pitch, I think that's going to be interesting because either of them could score. Obviously, then you look at Arsenal, you've got Russo, a class. I think there's so many from so many different teams that it just makes it exciting. But even having these conversations just within one club, obviously we've just spoken like Sam Kerr, Ramirez, if she comes back maybe January, February time, it's looking like potentially, and then Aggie, like I think even just within Chelsea, any of them could get the Golden Boot.
Yeah, so true. And I feel like we've got a question in from Lucky666, which says, will Chelsea go unbeaten again this season? Ooh. I feel like from what we've just said, there's absolutely no reason why they can't. However, we'll come on to talk about a few of the other teams, but have the other teams up their game? They've made some great signings.
I think with the WSL, it's always so tricky because there's such a divide between the top part of the league table and then the bottom part. I think with maybe Spurs, their result, Liverpool, Villa, we've seen maybe actually the middle part, it's sort of mixed. If that makes sense, there's not too much disparity between the top and the bottom. But I do still think that City, United, Arsenal, they're strengthening their squad. And I think that Chelsea, they have it in them to go unbeaten. But whether they do that or not, I think it completely depends if the clubs like London City Lionesses can up their game as well. And also, I guess it depends how they do in other competitions as well. It's not just the WSL that these top clubs are competing in. It's going to be the Champions League coming up soon. Obviously, United have already started making their way in that league as well, like in that competition. So I think, it'll be interesting to see how Sonia can juggle it all.
Yes, well, scores on the doors for who will win the WSL as well. We've got currently Arsenal leading the charge there on 60%, Chelsea 32%. And 4% for both Man United and Man City. So United and City fans, get your votes in, or don't if you don't think your team's going to win. But no, it's teed up to be a juicy season. But we will move on to the next fixture of the weekend, which was the fixture that I was at. As you can see here, London City Lionesses against actually you can't.
So Nikita Parris's
head. Of course, a former Man United player who is now at London City Lionesses. And there is a lot to unpack in this fixture, Lucy, because Manchester United scored 5. They were impressive. They've scored 9 now in 2 games. But what impressed you most about their performance, or maybe both of their performances so far?
I think, with United, I thought going into the weekend's game, Arsenal-United, Arsenal should come out on top. But after seeing the performances, especially you saying that 5-1, I think actually United will be able to compete this season. I don't know what's changed in the club. I don't know if it's the new signings they've got in. Even Jess Park, obviously there was that Manchester swap, which was crazy in itself, like to just think how that even came about. But Jess Park moving to United and Grace Clinton obviously going to City, everyone was thinking, why is Jess Park moving there? That's obviously a downgrade going to United. And I think United have just looked at those comments and gone, no, it's an upgrade, and just completely gone with it. I do think we need to consider the teams they are playing against, though, because obviously it's like 9 goals. It's very impressive. Same Arsenal have 9 goals, very impressive. But when you look
I love it. You had to feed that in. I have
to get that in, But when you look at both the teams they've both played, they are either in the relegation battle or a newly promoted side. So they're not really against those top 4 teams. So I think the real test will be this weekend when Arsenal and United play. But I think in terms of the players that have stood out, Riviere is probably the key player for me, that when I watched that game, I thought, okay, this was her 50th cap, I think, for the club, I'm pretty sure. And the way that they were able to use her as a right wing back, running down the line. I know obviously she scored and we spoke. And
was it a cross? Was it a shot?
I think that should have been the poll. Like, was it a cross?
Was it a cross or a shot? Let us know in the comments if you think Riviere's goal was a shot.
I mean,
or a cross.
From my perspective, I'm thinking that was probably a cross because you saw her do it time and time again. And I almost saw like a Chloe Kelly sort of replica there, because that is what Chloe Kelly does so well. When she comes on the pitch, she crosses it in. And I think United having someone to unlock it, it means that whoever is in that box, as long as there's someone in there, or if she shoots herself, then it will go in the net. So I think for them, they're very direct and very attacking, but I think they had a lot of freedom to be able to do that. Whereas against maybe Arsenal, with Arsenal's defence, I don't know whether they'd be able to come up against them like that.
Yeah, Riviere, I think she was impressive last season as well, to be fair. And looking forward to seeing more of her. It feels like her confidence is kind of sky high at the moment. And her first goal, I believe. So that was a
pretty good game for her.
Good goal to score there. And I think the other person we have to talk about from that game in a United shirt, Melvine Mallard. 2 goals in that game, 2 really good goals as well, I would say, like proper striker's instinct goals for those. And now she scored 4 goals in the first 2 games. That was her whole WSL goal tally last season. So
I didn't know that. That's really shocking that she's obviously come out and what she's been doing so far already. Like when you talk about how she scored those goals as well, I think it was the second one. She let the ball run through her legs and then she sort of just took it. So if you're a defender, do I watch the ball? Do I watch the body language? You don't really know what to do. She's so confusing for the defence that she was able to get it. So that shocks me that last season it was only 4 goals.
Yeah, so
it just proves they're changing.
Yeah, and it's like that confidence. They're playing with that confidence. And someone else I'm going to mention now, not in the attacking line, but in the defensive line, Maya Tissier.
Yep.
Wow, 100th appearance for Man United. The captain. She was given the captaincy at the beginning of last season after Katie Zellem, who is now at London City Lionesses.
Everyone's switching sides.
It's all switcheroo. But yeah, she was given that captaincy, and I think that maybe a few eyebrows were raised. She was very young to get that captaincy. But before we talk about her, we caught up with Mark Skinner after the game. So for those of you who are new, when we go to the matches, we are able to interview the managers, interview the players post-match. And pose our questions to them, and we capture all of that. That all goes on our YouTube channel, Haters TV. Please do go and check that out. You can see all the interviews in full there. But here is a little clip from what I spoke to Mark Skinner about following the match, and especially about what he had to say about his captain, Maya Tissier.
Crazy. And I said to her at the end, I went, Maya, do you know that's your 100th? She went, no. She had no idea it was a 100th appearance. So I think that shows much about who she's just an ultra competitor. At half time she's going mad. We scored the second goal and she's going mad because our quality on the ball wasn't good enough. And so at half time I addressed that with her and with the team, and that just shows her competitive nature, but she didn't even know. That shows she just loves playing football. And I think to be available for the amount of games she has been I think like a Lucy Bronze is the same kind of ilk of a player. There's not many that do it. And I think for her to be able to do that, that's why she's my captain.
And I just wanted to ask, looking ahead, you've got a huge week coming up. Obviously, 2 really positive results from the first 2 WSL games. What do you think are the main lessons that you and the side have taken from those opening games to take into probably the massive week you've got?
Yeah, I think, again, just to take it game by game, though, really. Like, they are equally as big games, really. I know Arsenal are an incredible team and Bran have already beaten us once. So, I want to be focused. Focus solely on Thursday night. That's it now. So Bran are in our sights, and we have to make sure that we do everything to turn the tie around and take it to them. So and then we'll deal with Arsenal after that. So for us, full focus now goes to Bran.
Lucy just asked me about why he was sat like that, so I'm going to give this a bit of context. So often at these matches, we go and do these post-match interviews in a press room. Sometimes in some of the smaller stadiums, they get done pitch side. yesterday we did the first manager, the London City manager, pitch side, but then it started raining. So then when it was time to do the Mark Skinner interview, he was like, let's not get wet. So we took cover. So he's there sat at one of the desks where the press were working. So that was where we had been working throughout the game. And then afterwards, he sat down there to do a bit of a press conference and we all gathered around. So
looks like he became a fan straight away.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I'll just join in.
Yeah, I'll join in. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the sort of context of that sort of funny setup. But Mark Skinner, that interview is really good, by the way. I really recommend you going and watching it. There's a few nuggets there. He compares, as you saw there, he compares Maya Tissier to Lucy Bronze, which is, I mean,
that's a big
high
comparison,
praise, right?
yeah.
He was just saying her mentality, you know, to be able to play that number of games. Wow. He also spoke about Jess Park, who we spoke about earlier, and he said how she's able to, that they're going to be able to unlock a bit more of her here at United, which I think is just,
I think they've proved that already, haven't they?
Yeah. He spoke about a lot, and but the thing I want to talk about a little bit more at the end of that interview, he was looking forward to this week. It's a massive week for Man United Football Club. They've got this Thursday night Champions League second leg qualifier.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
So this is to get into the next stage of the Champions League, the actual proper Champions League. They have to overcome a 1-0 deficit against Brann, but it's at home, the second leg at Leigh Sports Village. The fans have got incredible at the weekend. And then we've spoken about it. They've got Arsenal on Sunday. But
of course,
we've got to talk about this Champions League fixture. How big of a game is this? They've never got past this round to get to the proper Champions League.
I think it's so big on so many different fronts. Like you just saying that then, it's so big for the club. I think it's big for Mark Skinner because he's obviously had a bit of a controversial reputation over the last few seasons. So I think for him, it will put out to everyone, no, I'm serious about this job. I'm serious about this club. And I think also United, I mean, if you look at the men's side, that's gone a bit downhill as well. Like they were basically just above relegation. They didn't get any silverware. There's question marks as Amarim. I think for the club as a whole, if the women can progress further in the Champions League, it will be amazing for the club. I think for English football as a whole, it will be even better because we've already got obviously Arsenal, Chelsea and City competing in that next round that they'll hopefully qualify to get into. So I think having 4 clubs, that's just going to be great for English football, get more people tuned in watching the Champions League. And yeah, just really put them on the map.
Yeah, it would be massive for Man United to qualify, I think. And I really hope they can do it because they weren't able to do it 2 years ago. And yeah, they've made some good signings. They've got some really likable players. You kind of like, you're rooting for them. Something I wanted to draw attention to on the programme, because we're going to go on to talk about London City Lionesses. But before we do, I think we mentioned last week the 16 signings. This is the size of squad. So
that's a joke.
Yeah, this is the London City squad, and this is the Man United squad. So yeah, it just gives you an idea about how big that London City Lionesses squad is. And they've lost both of their opening fixtures, but I want to do a huge caveat. It was against Arsenal and it was against Man United, the teams that finished second and third in the league last year. Really tough way to get started in the WSL, but it also feels like they need to show a bit more. What do you think they haven't been able to do yet this campaign?
I think when you look at their players, like that list is crazy how many players there are.
And superstars too.
100%, but they've got both emerging and experienced players. And I think that's a key thing because they've got those experienced WSL players who we've seen play, like you said, Katie Zellum earlier. We've seen her play on the other team for United, but this is a completely different setup. Michelle Kang has pumped so much money into that club that I feel like everyone just thought, right, we're going to 100% London City Lionesses is going to win all their games. It's going to be amazing. But instead, it hasn't worked like that. And I think there's so much pressure. It's game week 2. Like everyone, I think, just needs to relax that. Yeah. You know, it's literally game week 2. Like we've got time for them to warm their way into the league, into the season. They've definitely had a really rough start. But I think for them, they haven't gelled. I feel like you might, I'm not sure if this is the video coming up, but I know that you spoke to obviously their manager. And I think that is the biggest thing, the cohesion, that is just not there. Yeah. And that's so understandable when you're signing like Grace Guru literally like an hour or 2 before the deadline closes. So I think how are these players meant to know what it's like to play with each other until you get given that chance? So I think their next game should maybe be a bit easier, but they've definitely had a rough start to the league.
Yeah, well, you've cued me in nicely there because we spoke to Jocelyn Prasher. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm saying his surname correctly there. But yeah, was able to catch up with him following the match yesterday and ask him a little bit about what needs to change for London City to get off the mark.
But if we don't improve fast, we cannot expect a better result, especially against the top four at the moment.
You mentioned the dynamic there, so many new signings. How do you as a manager work with that to make them blend as soon as possible?
Yeah, it's difficult, but this is a challenge we need to face at the moment. We need to learn about each other, many players. I still don't know very well them. And after, the most important now we learn about them individually. The most important will to create connection, create automatism, find a good combination. To bring stability to the team and start to build the cohesion we need.
Can I just ask you about Cascaioro? Obviously, she's made her debut today. Fantastic player, you'll know well from your time at PSG. I wonder if you could speak to her qualities, what she'll add to the team.
No, she's a wonderful player. Probably for me one of the best midfielder in the world, top class player. We are working on her conditioning at the moment. Step by step she will be ready. She's not ready to start again, probably not in a shorter term, and we want to do things well with her. It's the case also for some players who are missing at the moment. But this is the kind of player we need if we want to have a fast improving dynamic. We cannot focus only on the developing player. We need this kind of player to adapt faster at the WSL level.
Yeah, he says there that he doesn't, know his players well enough yet. Is that a concern? How long do we give them?
I think this is always the question with managers when they come in or when so much has changed. And I think London City Lionesses have faced so much change. Even just being promoted, we know in the past that, like with Palace, they went up, they went straight back down. You see it Bristol City, same. You see it with so many different clubs that it's all a big change for them anyways. And I think maybe Christmas time, give it a few months, that's maybe when alarm bells should start going of, are they still in that relegation battle? But for the moment, it's literally a couple games in. I don't really think we can comment too much.
Yeah, I guess it's Everton next for them and then Man City after that. So it's not an easy start. You can't help but feel that Everton game next weekend, they really want to be getting points from it because they don't want to be 4 games in and have nothing. I mean, that's assuming that Man City are going to beat them, but who knows? But yeah, watch this space. And at the end of that interview, he was talking about their record signing, Grace Gioro, who we were able to see yesterday. We got a little glimpse of her. She really was energetic and she's a class player. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of her. So hopefully... I
feel like they should be starting her very soon. Hopefully, obviously said she's not ready to start just then. But I'm like, you've spent that much money. You're
Get her ready.
I think even like the fan base or just fans of the WSL as a whole, you want to be seeing these like record-breaking signings. I mean, even just looking at Olivia Smith, Alyssa Thompson, we've been so excited to see these players because we're like, are they worth the money? So I'm hoping we see her get even more game time with the weeks to come.
Definitely. Well, that brings us on to the third team who have had a perfect start, which is Arsenal. They played West Ham at West Ham on Friday night. The scoreline ended 5-1 to Arsenal, but it was a bit sketchy because of the first goal went to West Ham after something we don't see very often, a Daphne Van Domsela howler, I would call it. What did you make of that? Were you sort of nervous at that point, Lucy, or did you kind of know Arsenal would turn things around?
I think it's so tricky because, like you said, it's so out of character for DVD to do that because she's been the go-to player the last season where we had so much controversy at Arsenal where is it Jonas in? Is it Jonas out? And then obviously Slagers took over and there was a bit more calmness to the club. But then there was always that debate of Zinsberger or DVD. And then the minute DVD would be playing, everyone felt calm. I automatically felt relaxed. And I think all Arsenal fans just knew that she was safe in the net and confident. So the minute that went in, I think everyone was just very shocked to see it. And it seems to be a trend. Obviously, you can't really create too many patterns so far. It's literally, like we said, been 2 game weeks. So you can't really create too many trends out of this. But we have noticed that Arsenal concede first and then they suddenly score about 4 or 5 goals. So it's worrying, I think, that Arsenal are relying on conceding to then wake up and get in the game. And we know that the attacking players Arsenal have, there's so much squad depth in that you know they can get the goals. But come the weekend against United, November against Chelsea, I mean, when Arsenal play City, I think it would just be really interesting because you can't concede against those clubs. You just won't be able to come back, I don't think.
And 2 goals for Ayisha Russo. She was brilliant again. I feel like we can never get tired of saying how good Ayisha Russo is. Another player in contention for the Golden Boot this season. We've mentioned beever-jones, Sam Kerr, Melvie Mallard, Ayisha Russo. Gosh, it could go anyway, really. And we've not even got onto players like Bunny Shaw yet.
I was going to say, it's actually so good though. As just like a neutral fan of the WSL, it's so exciting because every week you know that these names, they're becoming more household names, but these names, they will perform and they will put on a show in some form. And with Russo, I think what she does when she's not scoring is just as important. And that's something that I feel like people do overlook a little bit, because it's almost just important to get those assists or maybe drag that defender out of the box, so then I don't know who, maybe Blackstenius or Mornham can then go through. So I think it's very important what she does off the ball.
I think it was 2 late goals and she'd already been called as a player of the match before those 2 goals, so that gives you a little bit of an idea,
just honestly proves
just how good she is even without her goal scoring. And that's something she's just really developed quite a lot, I'd say, in the last season or so.
Definitely.
So watch this space. But West Ham yet to get a point. One of 3 teams yet to get a point. Again, we don't want to raise all the alarm bells just yet.
2 weeks.
However, you did say that before we started recording that you thought West Ham could be in trouble. What do you think?
I think before the season started, I was confident London City Lionesses would stay in the league. I wasn't that confident that West Ham or Spurs have proved me wrong so far. I mean, I'm sure we'll chat more about the debuts and everything going on with Spurs, because I think they've come out and proved why they actually should, like the men, be in that top 6. But I think, just as a whole, it is very interesting to see West Ham and how they're performing, because you think they do have some good signings, but I think for whatever reason it's just not clicking. And when you are against the likes of Arsenal, who with their £1 million signing, Olivia Smith, I think she set up that goal for Russo, and without a player like that, without that speed and that sharpness on the ball, I don't know how you're meant to compete against that.
It's tough. They brought in Shakira Martinez last January and she did amazing things. She really sort of reinvigorated West Ham's back end of the season. I've been like, there's definitely quality within that team. It's just a case of that all gelling, coming together and seeing we'll see what happens. But we shall see. Well, the 4th team, Spurs fans, we're coming to you. The 4th team with a perfect record. It's not maybe one we thought we'd be talking about.
I did not see it happening.
Again, we are only 2 games in, but we've got to give credit to Spurs. 2 from 2 wins. Yeah. And their win against Everton actually was very impressive. It was at Goodison. This is super exciting. Everton women have moved to Goodison as their home now. It's amazing. I mean, that in itself is just worth celebrating. And this was, of course, their first game. Having had the Merseyside derby at Anfield last weekend, this was their sort of first game with Goodison as their home. And Spurs went there and won 2-0. And after finishing 11th last season, people maybe might not have seen it coming, but Martin Ho's come in. And what's impressed you most about Spurs in the first 2 games?
I mean, I was definitely one of those people that didn't see this happening because, like you said, 11th, I thought, they'd be fighting for relegation. And then I was looking at the key players and I was like, Bethany England has a lot to do to put them on the map even more so. But I just think their new signings, I think Tandberg, obviously, she made her debut. That goal we were talking about, what a screamer that was from so far out. And I think it's that confidence and that direct play that I don't think we've really seen that from Spurs too recently. I think Jess Naz as well, she's back. I don't know how she left because she's always been there, but I just think there was some confidence, and maybe it is because of the players that are now playing around her. But I remember I said to you before we started recording that a couple of seasons ago in that North London derby, Jess Naz stood out for me when Spurs won 1-0 because she's so crucial running down the wing. Yeah. And I think that's a player we've replicated with Alyssa Thompson in Chelsea, Olivia Smith in Arsenal. We're seeing that sort of player where they're just quick, they're rapid, they're getting the ball in. And I think Spurs really need her. And it's so good they've unlocked even more quality in her. And I think that is through their new signings. So I think Martin Ho, he seems a genuine guy. He seems very good. And when he's chatting to press and everything. He comes across really well. So
Yeah.
I think what he's going to do with this club is interesting. And obviously with Daniel Levy as a whole moving out of the structure of Spurs, there's a lot of change right now for Spurs as a whole. And I feel like there's a lot of change for United and Spurs. And I think there's going to be positive change for the women's sides.
Yeah, I hope so. It feels like a good opportunity for them to capitalise and really grow their women's side. And
definitely,
having spoken to Martin Ho at the start of the season before it all started, it's definitely a project that he felt very passionately about and believes they're on the same page with. So yeah, long may that continue. Hopefully a lot more investment into Spurs women.
Definitely.
And you mentioned Katinka Tamberg's goal. Wow. Just
insane. Even the assist as well.
The assist, yeah.
I don't think you can get a better debut than that.
No, you can't. You really can't. But yeah, shout out to her. And it was for Everton. I think they had that good start last week, and I think there's still signs of promise, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more from Everton. I'm actually really excited about this Everton versus London City game next weekend.
I think it'll be a close one.
I think it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to tell us a lot about where both of those teams are and how they're going to compete this season. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Okay, well, we will move on to the next fixture. Man City versus Brighton. Man City won 2-1. This was a first win for Manchester City boss Andre Jeglet after they lost to Chelsea on the opening day. What do you make of that? It was a comeback. We saw Frank Kirby score for Brighton to make it 1-0. And then, City came back and won like they so often have done in the past few seasons. Of course, they don't have Champions League football this year. That gives them a lot more focus on the league. Do you think they are real contenders this season?
Yeah, I think, well, like you said, they are fully focused on this league title. I think I made the mistake earlier of obviously saying City because I just got so programmed that City usually make it through to the Champions League. And it's something that I think they were shocked, like the end of the season last year. I think they had that like the worst week you could as a club because they got knocked out of a few competitions. They lost that final when they kept playing Chelsea back and forth. I feel like that was very chaotic. And they've come into this season and obviously Chelsea had to be their first game. And I think that was quite, just watching it as a fan, that was quite a level playing field. And they were unlucky to get the loss, I think. But then bouncing back to Brighton, you expect them to get that win. Even though Brighton have quality players, like you said, Frank Kirby obviously scored. Adjuman is starting, but for some reason City managed to keep them out of the game, and I think it's because they have those quality players. Golden Boot is obviously always mentioned with Bunny Shaw and even Miedema, I think, as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. I feel like this season it's very good for a lot of teams to close the gaps that we've seen a lot before, like with the top maybe 2 teams, then the next 4, and then the bottom. But I think it's now closing up a bit, which is exciting.
Yeah, I'd love it if it was a proper 4-horse race. Oh, make it more. Make it 5, 6, 7. Let's go.
Yeah, literally.
Honestly, the more the merrier. We want it to be as competitive as possible. But yeah, good to see City getting that first win under their belt for sure. Well, we'll move on to the final match of the weekend. That was Leicester versus Liverpool. Now, actually, maybe this one was the most shocking result of the weekend to me.
I think, yeah.
Leicester beat Liverpool 1-0. So Gareth Taylor's Liverpool yet to get a point. They're one of 3 teams to not have got a point yet. So, yeah, what needs to happen? It feels like they sold Olivia Smith. That was a massive thing for them. She was obviously their talisman. Did you say talisman? Taliswoman? I don't know. Is that a gender term? I don't know. A talis person. Last season, we know how good she is. We don't need to talk about that anymore. But they got a good chunk of money for that. It feels like maybe they've not gone out and found the players who are going to fill the gaps. What do you think? Could they be in trouble?
I think, because what we keep saying, just to echo it, is so early on. Yeah. So it's really hard to tell. So I don't think they should be in a position of worrying right now, because even if you look at London City Lionesses and they're on level points with them, which is obviously nothing right now, as well as West Ham, there's all to play for. There's still games that are coming up that they have the chance to win. I think, it was just a shocking game because Leicester, that's maybe a side that for me anyways, I always kind of don't really think that they're competing in the top 6, maybe. I always just see them as the bottom half. So for them to actually, come away with the 3 points, it is exciting that there's a lot of unpredictable results this week. But yeah, I don't think Liverpool should be too worried. I think it is early days, but if maybe we're saying this at Christmas time, maybe they should probably get a little bit concerned.
They really struggled last season, Leicester. They've now kind of got the sort of, not permanent manager situation, which is never helpful, I would say. But good to see that they, have got an early 3 points against a side that maybe people thought they might not get 3 points against. We've got some comments coming in. We'll run through a few of these. We have got, the poll, first of all. Let me give you an update on that. Who will win the WSL? Arsenal are leading the charge here. 74% of you think Arsenal are going to win the WSL. Wow. 75% over there.
Can I just add my vote in?
22% think Chelsea, 3% Man United, and only 1% Man City. Wow. There we go. So even though they don't have Champions League, they feel like that could... They're still not there. I feel like the thing about Man City, they were so hampered by injuries last season, and their squad depth just isn't that deep. We spoke about this in last week's show, that compared to Chelsea's, like, there was, you can look to the bench at Chelsea. You've got a replacement for almost every position, and you don't have that at Man City. So you're relying on those sort of 6 or 7 people to just be fit, and that's key.
I do think this is the first season in a while maybe that it's sort of a 2-horse race between Arsenal and Chelsea, but I think that is purely down to the squad depth. Whereas I think United, yes, they've got key players, but the players we've mentioned earlier, if they get injured, I think they're in a bit of trouble. Same for City. So I think Arsenal and Chelsea are those ones that are competing, but then the other clubs definitely can compete, obviously, for that Champions League spot. But I think it probably will go down to a 2-horse race.
Yeah, we've got Tyrrell Gunner TV says Arsenal definitely has a chance to win the WSL this season. Come on, you Gunners. We've got Pratigya Mishra who says, I'm a Chelsea fan, but this year Arsenal are most likely to win the WSL, and it hurts as hell to say that. Wow. So we've got Chelsea fans thinking Arsenal are going to win.
I appreciate that, but I do think that maybe, just trying to see that angle, obviously comment and correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe it's because, like we said earlier, their focus will be Champions League. And I've spoken to so many Chelsea fans, and they say, I don't care about the domestic if we get the Champions League. I don't care. Like, I'd rather, they give the treble to Arsenal as long as they get that Champions League, which is, as an Arsenal fan, you obviously are like, no, we need to get the quadruple. We don't want them obviously to get it. But I think in terms of their comment, that kind of does make sense why.
Yeah,
they maybe think it could happen.
They are going to throw the kitchen sink at the Champions League.
100%.
That is for sure. That is for absolute sure. But I just don't think that's going to hamper them in their quest for the domestic stuff as well, because they've got the players. They really do.
Way too many players.
Way too many players. Shift them off, guys. Shift them. Well, that just about wraps up all the WSL coverage of the weekend. I'm just going to end with I want a quick fire answer, because this week, I think the biggest thing this week is whether Man United are going to qualify for the Champions League or not. They've got this fixture against Brann. They need to overcome the 1-0 deficit. Are they going to do it? Are they going to sort of make history for Man United to get there?
Quick fire, 100%. I think they will get through, because I think they'll put all their focus and fixate on this Champions League game rather than the league. So Arsenal, I don't think they'll win, but definitely in the Champions League, I think they will. As in this game, not the whole Champions League.
Yeah. So you think they won't beat Arsenal on Sunday?
Because they're focused everything.
I think I agree with you, because that's such a tight turnaround. Thursday to Sunday. Wow. Although they did it this weekend and won 5-1, so that was pretty impressive.
That is true.
But yeah, I agree with you. And I think they're going to do it. So hopefully we'll have 3 English teams in the Champions League, which was what we had last year when it was Man City, Chelsea and Arsenal. So lots to look forward to, hopefully. Good luck, Man United. Good luck to all the teams playing the WSL this weekend. Keep it exciting as it was this weekend. Bring it on. Thank you, Lucy, for joining me, and thank you for watching another episode of Pitch Perfect. We will be back next week. Thank you for joining.